we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. On infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want it until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious.
Violence and vandalism is being led by Antifa and other radical left-wing groups who are terrorizing the innocent, destroying jobs, hurting businesses, and burning down buildings. They are coming after me because I am fighting for you. That's what's happening.
Greetings, fellow thought criminals, and thank you for joining the insurrection. I'm Michael Lauber. This is Derek Evans. It's another glorious day in America's new golden age, and we've got a lot going on.
Yes, we do, Mike. Hey, glad to have you back. Dan Crenshaw is back with us today. It's going to be a glorious day here on the show. But in all seriousness, guys, like, share, subscribe, all those good things. Whatever platform you're watching on, hop in the chat, leave a comment. I read all the comments. Just getting the X chat pulled up. I had to adjust my lots and everything, so I missed any of if they were there before. So drop another comment. I'll give you guys a shout out, kind of like this. We got Kelly Song, Dan Dreyer. Over here in the Rumble chat, we got Sean in the Getter chat, and we've already got a Sean over here from Texas in the X chat as well. And then I was also going to say, it is my birthday, and for my birthday present, head over to Rumble if you have a Rumble account. Subscribe to our Rumble channel on X America News. It would help us more than you could imagine. That's all I want for my birthday. You guys have a great day with that, and we got an awesome show lined up for you guys here today.
Oh, yeah. And before we get into the stories we're going to cover, I got a video I want to play for you guys. So let me just go ahead and run this.
Hi, I was a worker at HHS. I was fired illegally on February 14th. There are many people who are not getting social service programs, especially people with disabilities. Are you going to do anything to stop what's happening?
You probably deserved it.
I deserved it? I deserved it.
Dude,
wow.
Sad.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Why did I deserve it?
Because you seem like a clown.
Okay, sir, you shouldn't have said that on.
Oh, that is awesome. We need more people in Congress responding like that.
You could not have timed. I've laughed so many times in this video because you could not have timed up the elevator closing any better. It was seriously, that was like a scene out of a movie that they shot 100 times to get that perfect shot of you look like a clown as the elevator doors are closing. It was perfect. That was awesome.
Exactly. Somebody needs to tell these losers they're worthless. That the last 4 years, their productivity, all the stuff that we know that's going on behind the scenes, all the Hatch Act violations, all the other nonsense funding these ridiculous programs and not speaking up and saying something, yeah, they're losers. None of these people deserve their jobs, but this entitlement mentality is creeping through the left and unfortunately through a lot of people on the right too. And it's time to put a stop to it. You're there to serve the public good. You're not there to further your political beliefs. You're not there because of the they're going to treat you like a king and give you whatever. But I don't know how. I don't think we can get through to these people. Honestly, I think they're just a lost cause.
I do too. Well, I'm going to give a quick shout out to Thaddeus and Mitch over here in the X chat. We got Annie Cyrus over here in the Rumble chat as well. And then we got FG in the Getter chat. What I wanted to do is I wanted to add a little bit of context. That, as usual, when liberals post videos, or even conservatives at most, people usually don't put the whole context. This person had been following the senator around for quite a little bit there. That wasn't the entire interaction, kind of just continued. So I was fine with it either way, but I did want to add some context there that this person kept pushing the buttons and kind of pushed the senator into having that exchange that we just saw. But I thought it was hilarious. I loved it, and we need more of that.
That's right. Send these losers off into their cry closets. Well, guys, Liberation Day is here. And the mainstream media, they're out there drumming up the terror, saying this is going to cause, stock market crashes, price spikes, everything else, but none of it's true. How Trump's tariffs are fueling U.S. jobs, manufacturing, and tax relief, despite Democrat outrage. Now, these tariffs go into effect at 4 o'clock today. One thing they are pointing out there that they are correct about is the reason they're going in then is to not immediately affect U.S. markets, not to cause panic, to allow a little bit of time for people to absorb exactly what's happened and respond more appropriately instead of just freaking out, which again, I think is smart on Trump's part. But also manufacturing. We just had numbers come out yesterday that we've had the most manufacturing growth in the last month than we'd seen in over 3 years. So the policy is already working. We know a lot of these auto manufacturers are reopening plants in the United States. Chip manufacturers are opening up new, multi-billion-dollar to trillion-dollar plants here in the United States. There's companies all over the world bringing more jobs, more good paying manufacturing jobs home to the United States to avoid these tariffs. And again, these are reciprocal tariffs. And we need to keep that in mind. These are companies that have been bilking us for decades and nothing's been done. Trump's just standing up for the American people. And in a lot of cases, forcing these countries to adhere to agreements that they've already made.
Yeah, well, so I was just reading something. The economist Stephen Moore had put out that to your point here, our tariffs in other countries are, or that we're coming in are 3%, 4%, 5% sometimes, and the same countries that we're sending stuff to are 20% tariffs. I mean that's a huge difference there. And then it's hilarious because India or Canada. Let's go Canada first. So Canada just said today that they are willing to remove the tariffs if America agrees to do the same. And then India's prime minister says Modi, that they are now considering to cut $23 billion worth of tariffs on United States imports. So we're already winning, and it's just started. I mean, literally, actually, it hasn't started. It doesn't start till 4 p.m. So it's Liberation Day, but it hasn't even taken effect yet. And these countries are already walking it back and willing to will and deal, if you will. And all we want is like the left says, oh, we need free and fair trade. There's nothing fair about trade if we're charging them 3% and they're charging us 20%. Fair would be 20% and 20% or nothing, like that would be fair trade. I mean, so don't let them continue to gaslight us on this. This is awesome. And as you pointed out, the manufacturing industry in America is already responding to that. And the reason that the manufacturing industry specifically is important to America is these are good paying jobs. These are jobs that someone can support a family off of. These are not flipping burgers somewhere at McDonald's or something like that. These are good paying jobs. It used to be the backbone and how we built this country to begin with. Those have been taken away from us through this free trade stuff, shipping jobs across the world to other places. They're coming back home now, and Americans, especially young Americans, are going to reap the benefits of this.
Yeah, bingo. I think, well, you just said it best. What's fair is fair. We've carried the burden for countries all over the world for far too long, and it's time to have, if they're not willing to remove the tariffs 100%, which I do sort of understand. If the country wants to leave, say, 5%, then we're going to echo that with 5%. If they're using that to fund their government through trade, okay, fine. But we're going to do the same, and we should be able to. That again can be used to offset the tax burden on the American people. I think that's a great way to do it. And again, as we're seeing, it forces jobs to return here to America because corporations don't want to be saddled with that. We saw this before, and back in January when Trump was talking tariffs with just Mexico and Canada, that the Dole, I think it was, for avocados, they were just going to move production to, I don't remember, Guatemala or another country in South America where they already were growing huge numbers of avocados, but those ones were going to Europe. So instead they would rotate. The ones grown in Mexico would go to Europe. The ones in Guatemala or wherever would come to the United States because they did not have these excessive tariffs on U.S. products there. So your price was never going to go up. And that's the thing. Like, by and large, across the board, these tariffs are not going to cause price increases. Or if they do, they're going to be very short term and not on essential everyday items like food and, you know, medical things, stuff like that. It's going to be big ticket luxury items. And that's part of the reason why, like, Italy and several countries in Europe are freaking out about this, you know, because, you know, Ferrari and Lamborghini, you know, these are the lifeblood of some of those countries. Well, you know, maybe not literally the lifeblood, but they're a huge chunk of their industry there. And now all of a sudden they may be facing 25 to 50% tariffs on $100,000 plus sports cars. But you know, ultimately, this will benefit the United States. It'll benefit us here, and it will benefit the world once things do reach equilibrium and we have more, I don't want to say fair trade or free trade, but more honest trade where both countries are being treated fairly under the system.
Well, look, here's where I'm at with it. So I don't care if things do end up costing a little bit more, if that's putting food on the table of some random American family in Iowa or wherever. I don't care. But I'm a little bit different than most people. You know, I'm the guy that will drive right past Walmart that's having a sale to go to to go buy that off of a local person in my own community. You know, like the tire shop where I get the tires on my vehicle. I don't go to Walmart or you know, those big box stores, if you will, with those. I go to Zeke's. I don't know the actual name of it, but everybody calls it Zeke's, and that's where I go. But guess what? When I go to the youth sporting events of my children, I look on the fence and I look for the local stores who have their signs there that are contributing back to the community. Those are the businesses that I try to support because I want to help support local businesses. This is the same thing, just on a countrywide scale. Why would I buy something from China when I could buy the same thing from America, and let's just say it's $1 or $2 more, but that money is staying here in America and just, you know, recycling everything and helping Americans? Like, I'm perfectly fine with that. I want to do that. That is where we need to get to. Is we need to get back to the point of not only wanting to buy American products. Number one, they're better quality. But I'm surprised that the liberals are against this. You would think that people who are these climate change activists, well, guess what? If it's made here, they didn't have to use up thousands of gallons of diesel fuel and quote unquote hurt the environment to ship it across the world. It was made here, and so the supply chains are, you know, it's helping save the environment. I don't know why they would be against it from that perspective either. This is common sense, is all that it is. And if we're going to have free trade, then let's have free trade, and reciprocal tariffs are in fact free trade.
Yeah. You know, it's just because the left has no principles. They have no consistent values. They just have TDS. They're against whatever Trump, whatever Elon Musk, whatever the Republicans are for, they're automatically against it. They have no concept of consistency. If they didn't have double standards, they'd have none at all. Well, Let's go here. So DNC, Schumer sue Trump over order targeting illegal immigrant voting. Yeah. Well, now that Elon Musk and others have discovered that, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of illegal aliens have been voting in our elections, now they want to put their foot down because that's what they need to stay in office. We've known it for years, but now that it's actually being investigated and some people are going to be prosecuted and this problem was going to be taken off the table, they're going to fight it tooth and nail because they need their illegal alien voters doing the job that Americans just won't do anymore, and that is vote for Democrats. I think you're muted.
Yeah, my bad. So one of the things that they said was they Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, they put out a little statement. I don't know which one specifically said this, but it was one of these two. They said that Trump is trampling the framers' vision of running elections, and that such an executive order only reflects Trump's conspiracy beliefs. Obviously we never got to meet the founding fathers of our country in real life, but they left us enough journal entries and stuff that we can read. There is no way there's no way that they intended for illegal aliens to be able to vote in our elections. And the fact that the Democrats are actually fighting openly, used to they would they were fighting for this, but they would, circumvent, they would dance around the subject. They are openly, publicly admitting that they are fighting to allow illegals to vote in our elections. That is mind blowing to me that we have got them to finally say the quiet part out loud, if you will. I mean, and once again, they're latching on to these losing issues. And if last night's Wisconsin race should be proof enough, I mean, 60% of the voters voted to enshrine voter ID as a state constitution moving forward in the state of Wisconsin. And the same people turned around and voted for a left-wing extremist judge, apparently, and who opposed voter ID laws. But I say all that to let's just say, everything's fine there. But even the Democrats are opposed or support voter ID. Even the Democrats are opposed to illegals voting in our elections. Securing our elections is not only a matter of national security. Securing our elections is a bipartisan issue, and we need to keep beating the drums on that and get these elections secured at the federal level.
Yeah, bingo. And we got some questions too about this election in Wisconsin yesterday. Breaking: several counties in Wisconsin run out of ballots during hotly contested Supreme Court race. Why does this always seem to happen? And again, the facts are still coming in. And how much do you want to bet that these are going to be heavily leaning R districts that all ran out of ballots and people were not allowed to vote? Now, especially if this race was really close and down to the wire, this once again could have been the difference in getting a Republican justice versus this loser Democrat.
Yeah, well, I got a couple of audience comments here. So Sean in the Getter chat says they cheated in Wisconsin last night. There were 600,000 voters or 600,000 Trump voters were too lazy to get out and vote. No way. Dan Dreyer says, I am suspicious of the voting machines. And then Kristen over here. Thank you, Kristen. Shout out to you. Good to see you here in the chat. But listen, I don't know if they actually cheated or not. I haven't done any research into this. There's always some sort of shenanigans going on when you have machines. But here's the thing: even whether they cheated or not, when you use machines, and we know they've cheated in the past, just having that perception that they could have cheated is enough to cause concerns and have us ask questions. These are all fair questions to ask. I'm asking the same questions for the record. I'm just saying that I haven't been able to either do the research myself or hear from people who are in this movement, Mike Lindell and those sort of people. I haven't heard anything from them yet on. I'm sure we will in the coming days. But regardless of whether there was any shenanigans that took place in this election or not, this should be a major wake-up call to the establishment GOP. And the reason I say that is when President Trump is not on the ballot, there's a lot of people who do stay home. I'm not saying 600,000 people stayed home, but there's a lot of people who do stay home if Trump is not on the ballot. And the reason why is this movement, the MAGA movement, does not identify with the globalist warmongering historical view of the neocon GOP. And that the GOP itself still has that stigma amongst the people that it's this elitist warmongering group. And it's further proof that the people voted for Trump, not the Republican Party. And they're going to have to do some major I feel that MAGA has taken over the Republican Party at the grassroots level, but we have not taken over the establishment part of the party yet. And we're going to have to do that and change that stigma moving forward post-President Trump if we want to have success in future elections.
I agree. But I also think, that voters need to start doing more to stay engaged. They can't just vote on the 2 and 4 year cycle where we're already seeing the damage that can do with this other loss too in Pennsylvania. That was another unforced error. Republicans just not getting out and voting is not a good reason for Democrats winning a race. Now, if the Republican candidate is a piece of garbage, some loser rhino, then I understand why people won't get out and vote. But in a number of cases now, since January, or really since November, where the Republicans have taken a loss, it hasn't been the candidate's fault. They've been good candidates, but we've got to do a better job getting our butts out of the seats and taking the time to go down to polling locations and cast your vote to campaign. Like, a lot of these races are just as important or more important for you there locally. Like you and all of you up there in Wisconsin, like, this is going to have a direct impact on your lives in numerous ways. And it's sad to think that 600,000+ people basically just conceded this election to the Democrats, granted, as long as there were no actual shenanigans going on, by sitting home. Like, this wasn't important enough. I'm just going to stay home and I'll let somebody else go cast a vote and decide my future. We've got to get away from that mentality. Now, again, if it's some loser rhino, I understand why people stay home. But in these cases, I just don't think there's an excuse.
Well, the Republican Party still has this issue with the trying to think how to explain this, but it's in the donor circles and stuff, if you will. They still so the Democrats had been out on the ground there for months leading into this election. I mean, they had been there for at least 2 months. Republicans as a whole, I know that Scott Presler and a few others were up through there, but I'm not saying that, but like as a whole, as the machine, the David Hogg, for instance, the vice chair of the Democrat Party. I hate that little dweeb, but anyways, he was on the ground there as well. So I mean, what I'm saying is it was a top-down effort, if you will, where even the chair of the Democrat Party is out knocking doors and they're organizing and getting people engaged to go knock on doors. Republicans tried to do that over the last a week or so of the election, but it was too little, too late, especially to get these low propensity voters out in these states where you have a huge runway of early voting, which I disagree with. But while it's in place, we need to be utilizing that while at the same time trying to eliminate it. We did not do those things. And so this is a major issue where, you still have these people in the elite circles, if you will, of the GOP who are cornering the messaging and the donors and all that sort of stuff. And then they are, quite frankly, saying, no, we're going to send out a mailer and then they're going to profit off of that. They don't believe in the door knocking and all that because they're not making money off of volunteers knocking doors. They're self-enriching themselves by, owning the mail printers and all that sort of stuff and the mail houses. And so they're very old school in that regard. And it's going to be hard to shake that loose because that's how they make their own personal private wealth, and they're not going to give that up. So we got some major issues to address, but the good news is we've got still another year or so but before the midterms, but this should be a major wake-up call for all of us going into the midterms.
Yeah, agreed. And I hear David Hogg's little gun grabber organization's going bankrupt too, that they had to lay off most of their full-time staff. So even his stealing of the DNC email list and trying to raise money off that wasn't enough. America wants their guns, even you retards on the left. All right, guys, we got to take a quick break here from our sponsor, and we'll be right back with even more.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Thank you for staying with us. And if you want to support the insurrection and support Patriot Mike Lindell in his never-ending quest to save America, his fight for free and fair elections, and now he's considering the battle for governor up there in his home state of Minnesota. So actually, let's just go ahead and jump into that, because you want to talk about somebody that never takes the gloves off and always continues to fight. It's Mike Lindell. So again, go to mypillow.com or mystore.com. Use code insurrection. It's a great way to support our program and to support all the work Mike Lindell's doing, because MyPillow's Mike Lindell considers Minnesota gubernatorial run against Tim Walz. The MyPillow guy takes down Tampon Tim. I want to see that headline. How about you?
I would love to see it. And you know what? Him just running alone would red pill a lot of people out there. I really do. They're going to come after him for so many things that I think are going to be losing issues for them. And I think that Mike Lindell's a patriot. If you guys have never met him, the exact personality you see on the TV and the commercials, that's who he is. I mean, it doesn't matter who he's with or who he's around. He's still got that loud, boisterous, just exciting sort of personality, which is contagious. Quite frankly, I love it. I hope that he does. It would be awesome to see him run. And if he does decide to do it, he's going to go all out for it, and it would be a contested race for sure.
Yeah, if Mike said he's going to do it to win, yes, I can also vouch for that. Mike's the same person in real life that you see on TV. I worked for him at Lindell TV for years. I've gone to events, CPAC, worked with him directly a few times, and he will save that state if somebody can. But yeah, I'm gonna actually try to reach out to him probably this evening and see if he might be available to pop on with us one day next week and discuss this and what's going on, our battle for free and fair elections, because he's got the inside track. I know he's got a lot of information out there that's not necessarily public yet. But yeah, if you want a patriot to run your state, Mike Lindell's your guy.
I would have to agree 100%. And you know, if there is any saving Minnesota, and it's turned into a swing state, at least in presidential elections. You know, it's still a lot blue, I guess you could say, but it's close to being, you know, like that purple swing state. And you know, Mike Lindell, I'm sure would raise a lot of money, number one, nationally, and he's going to self-fund a lot of that as well. So it would be a very contested race in that regard. And people were underestimating how many not just employees, but families are affected, you know, by him and through his, you know, hiring people there in Minnesota. And that's going to go a long ways as well. He's got, I don't know how many employees there, a lot. And he's been there for years. And these people all love Mike. And then not only that, his amazing work in the drug rehab sort of stuff. I mean, this man has one of the biggest hearts you could ever find in somebody. And I think the Democrats will be dumb enough to attack him on some of those things. And I think that's going to hurt them. And I think it would help Mike. But I do think they're dumb enough to do that. But Mike Lindell's a true patriot. If we could get him in there, man, you talking about, I mean, he would clean those elections up immediately moving forward. And it would be basically a pilot program that the rest of the country could model themselves after in terms of paper ballots counted by hand at the precinct level. I have no doubt that he would push that there in the state of Minnesota. And who knows, maybe Minnesota's a red state once you get rid of all the cheating that's taking place up there. Hopefully we get to find out soon.
Yeah, when you find out how many Somalis are voting illegal in all their elections over there. So, yeah, again, remember, there's Somalia first, Ilhan Omar up there. But, yeah, you want to talk about somebody that exemplifies the American dream? That's Mike Lindell. Let's go ahead and jump to our next story here. Outrageous. Speaker Johnson cancels votes for rest of the week, derailing 2 critical bills, despite having power to proceed. And, you know, unfortunately, Anna Paulina Luna, somebody I really like, but this proxy voting rule that she's siding with the Democrats on, along with a number of other people, I'm sorry, it's BS. This should not be allowed. It should not have been allowed during COVID. Every one of us watched them wheel in Dianne Feinstein's corpse so that her daughter could vote for her, so they could get the numbers they needed multiple times. And I'm sick and tired of this. I don't care if it's due to a pregnancy, it's because you've got the bubonic plague and you're in the hospital, you're at a funeral in California. I don't care. You're elected to Congress. This is a privilege to serve the American people. And if you don't want to do it full time, sorry about your luck. Find somebody else that can. We need people that are full-time fighters to defend our country and save our country, especially right now while the situation's so critical.
Well, I mean, look, we had a missing congresswoman for months, and they found her in a nursing home there in Texas, Kay Granger or whatever her name is. She was missing it. So if there's proxy voting, who's to say that somebody wasn't going to be pushing a button for this person while in the nursing home that entire time? I mean, this whole thing's crazy. And here's my thing. I disagree with the proxy voting. I don't believe that was the intention of our founding fathers. But if if they want to change this, then go through the constitutional process and make the change via the Constitution. Number one. Number two, Anna Paulina Luna, you are entitled to have your own opinion and your own battles that you want to fight. That is fine. I think that Anna Paulina Luna is a good congresswoman. She's been a solid vote. She is. Yep. There's no complaints there. And I disagree with her on this, and I'm fine with disagreeing with her on this. I'm not going to, throw out all of her good votes over her view on this. But what I am upset about is that you are willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater on this over this one issue. You are willing to shut down the U.S. House for an entire week, throwing a temper tantrum. Basically, you're going to make this issue. You're saying this issue is so important to you that you're willing to shut down the Trump agenda for the next week. We got these activist judges out here doing all this. They were going to vote on the SAVE Act this week to secure elections moving forward. Like, I get that you want the proxy voting. Okay. You are entitled to that. I'm not even going to hold that against you, even though I disagree, because I'm smart enough to realize that no two people are going to agree on every single thing. And even with that, you are still a good congresswoman. But now that you've done this, I have to start questioning, kind of some of your motives. The fact that you're willing to just shut this whole thing down for a week so that because you didn't get your way. I'm sorry, but the good of the entire country, which includes pushing and the Trump agenda, which includes voting for the SAVE Act, which includes Congress being in D.C., actually working as the Constitution says you're supposed to, those things are more important than your little temper tantrum over not getting your way. That's my issue with all of this.
Yeah, exactly. Holding the country hostage, this isn't the right issue to do that on. I understand where reps take a stand on certain principled issues, but I feel like this is not one, regardless of your stance, that rises to that level of holding President Trump and the American people's agenda hostage and preventing a vote on something that clearly needs to be done. I mean, we're going to have more stories to cover here in a minute about more of these activist judges that continue to pop up like weeds. Something needs to be done. This needs to end. We can't have a tyranny of the judiciary, and since the higher courts appear reluctant to act, it's time for Congress to do something and quash this now before the situation continues to get even worse.
Absolutely. I want to give a quick shout out to Sharon over here in the X chat. Appreciate you. And Sharon Green says, I like Luna, however, not on this issue. And then Obliviously says, this is not a job for pregnant women. And hard to argue that. And then a shout out to Millie over here in the Rumble chat. And then Dan Dreyer had a question. Did she leave the Freedom Caucus over this proxy issue? Yes, she did. She left the Freedom Caucus over this. And once again, like, I don't care. I do care, but like, I'm not going to hold it against her that she has this view. She has her own personal experience in life that has led her to believe this, being a mother and everything. I get that. But my issue is you do not make this issue bigger than all of the other issues that we are trying to get past, aka the Trump agenda. This one issue is not big enough to throw the whole country in a whirlwind here. That is my issue with this. I mean, that is kind of where I'm frustrated. And, and in terms of the whole motherhood thing, okay, motherhood is the most beautiful thing in the world. Obviously, I've got four children. My wife's a rock star. But number one, don't sign up for the job if you're not willing to do the job, regardless of what happens there. But number two, they have, it's all paid for by tax dollars for members of Congress. They have like elite childcare there from 10 weeks on up. That is completely paid for. I mean, it is top-notch, top-of-the-line childcare there. So there's no reason that they and nobody's saying you can't bring your baby into the office and into your congressional office or any of those sorts of things. No, if they were saying those things, I would say that's crazy. I would agree that would be crazy if they said not only can you not vote by proxy, but no babies are allowed. That would be, but they're not saying that. Hell, for all I know, you could probably bring the baby onto the House floor if you wanted to cast the vote.
One of the Dem reps that's supporting this issue, that she did that exactly just a few days ago.
So
again,
what is the issue here? You know what I mean? Like that. What is the issue other than you're not getting your way? That is my problem. Like you are willing to make this issue bigger than all the issues that's going on in our country right now. We have a country to save. If last night didn't prove something, we've only got until midterms to get the Trump agenda done. Because if these turds turn around and win the midterms, the whole next 2 years is going to be impeachment, impeachment, impeachment. All these things. We're not going to get anything done. We've got a year and a half to get some major things done in this country. We don't have time to be taking vacations, if you will. And we definitely don't have time to throw temper tantrums over little petty things such as this. And yes, this is a petty issue compared to the other things that's going on in our country and the other things that we're trying to get passed through the House right now.
Well, even in Luna's words, she's only the 13th person in all of U.S. history to have a baby while in elected office. So, I'm sorry, but it's not worth changing the rules because, again, it's not going to end at proxy voting for pregnant mothers. It's going to get expanded into proxy voting for brain dead vegetables that happen to have won their last election, and now their relatives or their handlers are now casting all their votes for them. Well, they have no idea what's going on, just like Biden for the last 4 years. Let's go ahead and jump to our next issue because we've also got scumbag Jamie Raskin back in the news. Dem Rep Jamie Raskin demands Trump return deported Venezuelan gangsters and criminals to the U.S. Well, again, we've said it a gazillion times. The left today is always America last. They're not going to change. They care more about the constitutional rights of criminal illegal aliens than they do about protecting Americans. But to your point, Derek, if we don't fix these issues now in these next 2 years, then when the midterms come, if nothing's accomplished, and we don't have all the illegal aliens off the voter rolls, we don't have real headway made into deporting everyone. And again, I feel like 2 years is plenty of time to get that done, but I get it. It's probably going to take longer than that to clean out everybody that's here illegally. But yeah, if we don't get serious about these issues, get things across the finish line, they are going to win in the midterms, and it's going to be nobody's fault but our own.
That's exactly right. And once again, here are the Democrats saying the quiet part out loud. I mean, they used to say these things silently. We all knew what they meant, but the average person didn't. Now they're saying these things out loud. And if we let these people beat us, we're in some major trouble. I mean, think about this. Like, these are the worst of the worst. They're all criminals because they invaded our country and broke the law when they did so. But these are people who have committed crazy crimes while being here or before. Rapists, murderers, holding people at gunpoint and stealing from them, all these drug dealers, all these sorts of things, gangbangers. And he is demanding that we bring them back. Like, they've already been deported, and he's demanding that we bring them back. Think about that for a second. These people seriously hate our country. This is appalling, honestly. I mean, Jamie Raskin sucks anyways, but dude, this is next level in this regard.
Yeah, agreed. Well, we're going to go to our next break a minute early, but we got a lot more to cover when we get back.
Well, hello everybody. It's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. But I'm sure, or at least I hope, I'll see you at lutfstudio.com.
Thank you for staying with us. And again, the best way to support our program and all the programs on X American News is by supporting our sponsors. Go to lutfstudios.com right now. I just saw some pictures Annie had sent me recently of some pieces that she's got to list. I don't know if they're already up there yet. If they're not, they will be soon. But she's got some amazing stuff coming out that you're going to want to buy. It's a unique handmade piece. It'll become a treasured family heirloom. So go to lutfstudios.com and pick yourself up a piece today. All right, guys, we also got this. Radical Biden appointed judge sides with illegal aliens, blocks Trump administration's effort to end taxpayer-funded legal aid for illegal alien minors. Now, I've had it with these judges. I think this is the time for Trump to put his foot down and be like, no, I'm sorry, judge, you're ordering us to break the law. We would be sponsoring illegal activity if we funded these illegal alien minors that are in our country. So I'm sorry, judge, we're not going to be able to comply with this order. And actually, you seem to be facilitating criminal activity. So maybe we need to have the DOJ investigate you and possibly imprison you for trying to force the executive branch to break the law.
Dude, listen, that's where I'm at. I'm so sick of this. I'm at the point where if we do not start arresting these activist judges who are openly going against the Constitution, openly aiding and abetting the invasion of our country, then if we don't arrest them, then we've got to start pointing the blame at Republicans and quite frankly, even the Trump administration for allowing it to happen. That's all there is to it. There's no more NOS guy. We tried to play NOS the first presidential term of President Trump, the first one. We tried to play NOS. Look where that got us. There is no playing NOS with these people. There's no coexisting with these people under the current circumstances. We've got to start sending examples. Go into the daggone judges' chambers, for all I care, and grab them by the hair of the head and drag them out and arrest them right there on national TV, and then send a message. Hey, any other judge want to take the same stance? Because you can be. He needs a celly over here. We can line you up. We can arrange that. And so that's where I'm at with it. That is where my frustration is growing. Is we are allowing these people, these activist judges, to destroy our country, and nothing's being done about it. I mean, we can talk about it, but nothing's being done about it. Go do something about it.
Absolutely. The time for action is now, because look at this other dirtbag judge. ICE arrests illegal alien outside Boston courtroom as city defies feds. Now the judge slaps agent with contempt. So he is filed contempt charges against the ICE agent that arrested the illegal alien. And again, these sanctuary cities, they don't have the option to not cooperate with federal law enforcement. So again, it's time to end that. And I don't know what can be done to dismiss the charges there. If these are at the state level or the federal level, if they're federal, they need to be dismissed immediately. And again, we have to start actually fighting back and fighting to win. We've got to put our foot down against this nonsense, or it's going to just continue to happen, because that's the only thing the left has right now are the courts. We need to get our act together and start playing to win.
Absolutely. Well, really quick, in the X chat here, Smash, shout out to Smash, says that they are fast tracking driver's licenses for illegal aliens in Colorado, which is concerning for sure. And here's the thing. To your point, this ICE agent does his job, goes and arrests this illegal alien after the hearing there, and now he's being charged with contempt. It reminds me of I think it's a scene from Liar Liar, Jim Carrey, and he looks at the judge. He's like, "I'm holding you in contempt of court." Well, that's what we need to do. Start holding the judges in contempt of court or whatever.
Yeah.
That until something is done, and I don't mean a strongly worded letter or a threat or a fundraising email or a mean tweet, until something's actually done to these judges and the sanctuary cities and mayors, this is going to continue happening. And it's coming to a head. You might as well just rip the Band-Aid off, go ahead and start making those arrests now, and then we can move forward with cleaning up our country. And if not, this is going to be continuous the entire time between now and the next election. They are just attempting to put speed bump after speed bump in front of this to roll out the clock. until they can get to the midterms, to where then they can hopefully they're going to try to win the House, and then it's going to be impeachment hoax, and then they're going to run out the clock for 2 more years, and then they're going to try to steal the presidential election, and then we're back to where we just were this time last year with tens of thousands of people flooding across the border every single day. That is their game plan right now. That is what is happening, and Republicans are allowing this to happen. I'm sorry, but like, I'm done playing the game. They change the rules every time. It's like trying to play a board game with a toddler, and they make up the rules as you go, and nobody knows what the rules are. Well, I want the Republicans to just grab the whole table and flip the whole thing upside down and say, game over. Game over. We're done with this. Game's over.
Yeah. Now, real quick, to address the comment on Colorado. Well, hey, you know what? They're going to update all these illegal alien driver's licenses. I think ICE needs to get a hold of that database, because at least we'll have fresh addresses for most of them are. And we've got to start expanding things out and just rounding up whatever they're calling them, non-criminal aliens, that the only law they broke is invading our country. Well, it's time to start pushing those people out in mass too. I understand targeting the violent criminals, the thugs, terrorists first, but hey, you know what? Everybody's here illegally. They can all be deported together for breaking into our country. No more playing nice. No more just targeting the criminals. Send them all out. This has to end immediately. Well, this loser Cory Booker, staffer arrested in Capitol for carrying pistol without license as Dem senator undertakes a 20-plus hour filibuster. And I'm still not clear on this. Do you have any idea what this loser was filibustering?
Well, it wasn't technically a filibuster. He just took the floor. It wasn't technically a filibuster. It basically was, but it wasn't technically a filibuster. But he was basically just saying, hey, I'm shutting this thing down for as long as I can, because guess what? I despise pretty much everything that Cory Booker stands for. I despise Cory Booker himself. But you know what? Respect to him on this issue. I'm sorry, but I maybe that's not a popular opinion amongst conservatives, but I wish that we had Republicans who would do this. And this is exactly what we were talking about when I said that Republicans did nothing between Election Day and Inauguration Day, while Joe Biden rammed through over 200 activist judges that we are now dealing with. They could have taken turns giving shifts of 8 hours at a time if you wanted. They didn't have to go the full 24 like he just did. They could have taken shifts at 8 hours at a time and slowed that process way down. And instead of 200 and something judges, it could have been 15 to 20 judges that Joe Biden got through. But Republicans are weak. Republicans won't do that. I don't even know what he was actually trying to do other than just slow down the process in general of the president of the Trump agenda. And he was successful in doing so, because now the House is even out of session for the rest of the week. And so, but you have to actually admit that he is fighting for what he believes in more than any Republican I can think of in the Senate who I don't know. I mean, Rand Paul did this once, and I love his Festivus stuff that he does, but
yes.
Where's everybody else? I mean, and why are they not doing that at a time when Democrats are in control? This is what I'm talking about. We can disagree with them, we can despise them, but we can also say, I wish we had some people who would fight like them. And I do. I wish we had Republicans who were willing to do that.
Oh, exactly. Well, I mentioned this before the other day. I think we need to bring back the old school filibuster. Instead of letting them just call it, and then we need a 60-vote majority to end the filibuster. It's time to make these retards stand on the floor and talk for 48 hours straight. Maybe we change the rules so they can't hand off to another person, that they can only block things for as long as they can stand there on the House floor. Because again, we can't have a tyranny of the minority, especially when we have so many spineless Republicans that aren't willing to take a stand otherwise, and are happy to watch the left sabotage this agenda, because they really want things to go back to business as usual in DC. It's time to put an end to this. We've got to push our agenda through. And this is the other thing too, is as long as we are successful and we pull all these illegal aliens off our voting rolls, we get that cleaned up, we go back to paper ballots, we demand ID and proof of citizenship to vote. I don't think the Democrats are going to be able to win races in almost any states. That they're going to have a few seats in firm blue districts, but everything else, all of a sudden, watch things change. We get rid of the machines, clean up our election rolls, get rid of all the illegal aliens that are voting, and everything else they're doing to pad the numbers. They can't win anywhere, and all they can do is cry about it. But we have to have the courage to actually take back this country and use the power the American people have given President Trump and all the other elected members of Congress. It's time to play the same games the left has for decades. Like you said, shift the rules whenever it favors them, and then cry about it when we do the same thing back to them. Well, they can cry all they want if we can save the country.
Well, Dan Dreyer says, guns for me, but not thee, and so forget the filibuster thing for a second. On this issue, my question is how did a Democrat staffer, get a gun into the Capitol building to begin with? First of all, these are the same people who want to take everybody's guns away. Number one. Number two, I think the DNC is a domestic terrorist organization. They're out here calling for violence and all these other things. And so I don't really trust them with guns around unarmed elected Republicans in the Capitol building. So how did he get it in there? What is going to be the punishment for that? I don't know. But I support the Second Amendment 100%. But my question is, if this is a quote unquote gun-free zone, how did he get that in there without going through the proper channels to do so? To me, it just further proves that a sign saying you can't bring a gun in there is not going to do anything. But you have to go through metal detectors, all this stuff. Does staff not have to go through those things? And the reason I'm bringing that up is, you remember AOC had an illegal on her staff. These are the same people who are out here calling for violence. Or do they not have to go through metal detectors? I would argue that we are in at least somewhat potentially pre-Civil War situation right now. So what is being done to make sure? I mean, I'm just saying this could lead to a major issue in the future if staffers are just unvetted coming in bringing weapons into there.
Well, let's keep in mind, this is the second Democrat staffer since Trump's address to Congress who's been caught with a firearm in the Capitol where they're not supposed to have them. But yeah, it is always rules for thee, but not for me. They want to have exemptions. The horrible gun policy in DC is part of the problem. They make it impossible to defend yourself, protect yourself, or even own a firearm. But then why is it always these congressional staffers for Democrats keep getting caught? I mean, I remember years ago when Teddy the Fish Kennedy, he had one of his personal bodyguards caught with machine guns and hand grenades, and nothing was done about it. Freaking hand grenades. But anyway, let's go ahead and pull our next story because things are heating up around the world. Iran threatens strike on strategic U.S. base in Indian Ocean. And this is after, recently the supreme leader wanted to have talks again with President Trump. Well, I guess they were going to be indirect talks, but whatever. This seems like a really bad move on their part because threatening President Trump and threatening the U.S. military, this isn't Joe Biden. Trump doesn't respond well to those kind of things. So you want to ensure that your government is wiped out, which I think would be a great thing. This is how you do it.
Well, you know what? This is further proof that you cannot negotiate with these people. You can't be friends with these people. There's no reason to give them an inch. They're going to try to take a mile sort of scenario here. They are openly funding Hamas and terrorism across the Middle East, and would do so here if they could get away with it. I don't know why we are continuing to attempt to be friends with these people because you can't trust them at all. And if they're saying these things publicly, what are they saying behind closed doors? And here we are trying to have negotiations with these people. Just stop. I mean, I trust North Korea more than I do Iran right now.
Yeah,
I do.
That's unfortunately true. Yeah, because at least with them, they're at least somewhat consistent. And well, anyway, they're not the only ones trying to bring about more war, more chaos, and more destruction. Powder keg Europe in first foreign deployment since World War II. Germany to station 5,000 troops in Lithuania as latest escalation against the Russian threat. Well, I don't even know what to do at this point with Ukraine, because every effort for peace, Zelensky sabotage. Europe clearly wants World War III. I think it's time to just withdraw from NATO, begin working with Russia again on their own, try to get the money back, the resources back from Ukraine that they owe us. But hey, if these losers want war, maybe it's time to just sell them the weapons, and you know what? We'll just stay out of it. We'll end NATO.
Oh, we definitely need to leave NATO. That's 100% for sure. Like we absolutely need to leave NATO, get out of that. It's not worth that anymore. And you know, it's funny, they're already talking about making all these major cuts now that the U.S. has threatened to withdraw funding and all that. So now they are talking about all the cuts they're going to have to make, which is further proof that we are the ones funding all of NATO. I'm tired of being the world piggy bank. I want to keep that money in my own pocket. And if NATO wants to start a GoFundMe account and people want to donate to it, by all means, go ahead. But don't steal my money and then go give it to them against my will.
Exactly. I'm done with this. Let's jump to this here real quick. Leaked FBI chat log exposes agency's coordinated effort to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop scandal. So again, this is just more confirmation of what we already know, but they actually had some analysts and people within the FBI that tried to prevent this, and instead the agency lashed out at those analysts and other people that were involved. I mean, these chats are really just sick and disgusting. They knew exactly what was going on. This is the FBI trying to suppress real information to influence an election. So, hey, maybe it wasn't Russian influence that we need to worry about. It's FBI and CIA influence in our elections. And again, we've got to put a stop to this and put some kind of system in place to ensure this kind of stuff can never, ever happen again.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what we have to do. We got to put these measures in place, prevent these things from happening in the future. And once again, I just can't stress it enough. I want people to realize that we don't have 4 years under President Trump. We've got 2 years to get the Trump agenda done. And that is what's frustrating to me right now is Republicans. And I believe that what we are witnessing are the establishment Republicans in this country are telling everybody what they want to hear. And then behind closed doors, because most Americans don't understand the procedural processes, are just like, let's slow everything down. Let's run out the clock. We'll have to pass a few things just to keep everybody happy. But they're not going to get the whole thing done, because they're just running out the clock, because they oppose all this as well, because there is a globalist uniparty. This is like a daggone WCW wrestling match right now is what it is. I mean, the whole thing's fake. And that's why I'm getting frustrated with the Republican Party right now with all of this.
It's all fake and gay, just like the left. I'm going to end on this. The fugly truth. 3,000 faces don't lie. The left looks ugly and is miserable. So this is just, again, confirming what we already know. But they did analysis of 3,000 left-wing moonbats and right-wing patriots. And it's pretty interesting. You guys should go to Revolver and actually read through the article. This is similar to other things that we've read in the past, that the left is always angry, upset, unhappy, and miserable. But it isn't just that they're ugly on the inside; they're also ugly on the outside.
Well, look, studies have proven that people who are miserable, you basically walk around with a natural frown on your face. And so despite whether someone is found to be attractive or not to whoever's looking at the photo, if you have a scowl on your face and you're not happy, then you're going to look less attractive regardless, and so like you could show somebody a picture of the same person, one smiling and one miserable, and obviously they're going to think that the smiling picture is more attractive. So but these people have some deep issues. They don't even accept themselves for who they are. It has to be a miserable life, and it's quite sad, honestly. And think about this: they wake up every day. Think about how sad and miserable this would be to wake up every day believing that your life sucks and there's nothing you can do about it because of the color of your skin. There's nothing you can do about it because, you think that you're a woman and you're a man or whatever. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. That would be absolutely depressing beyond belief. There is something empowering if you are in a bad situation or going through something bad in life, and you have the mindset of, I need to fix this. I need to change this. What can I do to make myself better? that is a totally different mindset. That two people can be in the exact same situation and have different outlooks and come out in different situations. Whereas, so the left has been convinced that there's nothing they can do about it because of the color of their skin or whatever. And therefore that would be miserable. That would be depressing. That would be a terrible way to live your life. And so it's no wonder that I believe that study 100% just based on that alone.
Yeah, well, this is what happens when you fill your party with just dysgenic losers and mental patients. Of course, you're going to end up miserable, crazy, and nobody likes you. And smelly. We'll throw that in there, too. Maybe they should at least work on the bathing. That's something everybody can do. All right, guys, that's all we got for today. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back tomorrow.